What is up, guys? Welcome to GamersRaid. We are back with another how-to video. So today we are on Stormworks Build and Rescue, and I'm going to show you how to work or how to build basically a ship or a helicopter or basically anything you want to build that uses gearboxes and clutches. So we are going to go into a new platform here, and we're going to turn symmetry on. Grab some blocks and just do a nice big platform. Just a working surface. So I'm not actually going to build a boat or anything. I'm just going to show you the whole concept around the thing, because I know a lot of people are confused with clutches and gearboxes and that sort of thing. So first thing we're going to need is a seat. So we're going to put a pilot seat just sort of down there, out of the way. Next thing we're going to need is an engine. So you can use any engine you really want. For this purpose, we're just going to use the basic little diesel engine because that's what you get at the start of the game. Boom. So we're going to put that down. Next thing we're going to need is a clutch and not a clutch. Clutch. There we go. So there is some debate whether you should put gearbox first or clutch first. To me, it doesn't really matter that much. It really depends on the application. So for this purposes, I'm going to do clutch first and gearbox second. And we're going to need that gearbox then. So with a gearbox, this is really, really important. Otherwise, you'll have really high RPM and fuel usage and no speed or power whatsoever. The little arrows on the gearbox needs to be facing towards the engine. So that is super, super important. I know it's sort of backwards. I would also think it comes in from the first arrow pointing away from the engine and then going out towards the props. But it doesn't work that way for some reason. What we're going to do here though is flip this around if I can find the right button. There we go. So I'm going to link them straight into each other. So you can see on the top there's a connection point, and on that one there's a connection point. So I'm going to link them straight together like that, and then flip this one around again if I can find the right button again, like so, and link that in. So I'm going to have 3 gearboxes. So that's basically going to be gear 1, gear 2, and reverse gear. Right, so that is all we're going to need there. We are going to need power output from here, and that's going to run into, let's do propeller. What is it called? Prop. There's a small prop. Let's have a look for it. I don't know what they actually call it. Oh yeah, it is small propeller. Right. So that has got an input at the back of there. So we're just going to link that straight up to there. So you can obviously have 2 or 3 of these and just put a T-piece in there and sort of link them all together. Good. So that is the basics. And next thing we are going to need, this is obviously for advanced mode. I should have said that in the beginning. We are not advanced mode. We are going to need a battery. So we'll do like a medium battery over here. We are going to need what are they called? I think they're right at the bottom, like a generator. Yeah, so we're going to need some of those to link into the engine, but we'll do that in a second. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to go power. So that is engine power. All of these display what they sort of do. So that is air, that is fuel, that is exhaust, that is coolant in and coolant out. Well, coolant in and coolant out. So I'll show you how all of that works as well. We'll go radiator. We're going to need one of those. Let's just go away from the orange color. So this will just stick sort of without symmetry. Maybe there. That'll be fine. So you can obviously put this wherever you want, at the front of your ship or your helicopter or whatever you want to do. So there is other methods of cooling as well, but the radiator works perfectly fine and it's nice and snug and small. Right, so power out. What I'm going to do here is I am going to split the power like so. So I'm going to put a T-piece there. You can run that straight into your clutch if you want to, but I'm actually going to add a second clutch, and I'll explain why in a second. So we're going to put a clutch there, and then we are going to get our generator. So I'm just going to put a small generator on top of there. Good. So for that, we are going to need throttle, 2 of those actually. So 1, 2, and we'll get to that in a second. Right, okay, so plumbing for all of this. So I make power orange. This is just a personal preference. There's no right or wrong. So I would suggest color coding your stuff. I think I've got the wrong orange there, but it's fine. I would suggest doing color coding. It helps a lot if it's trying to diagnose a problem. So engine output is going to be out to there, into that clutch, and out to there, into that clutch. From here, we're going to run it into the gearbox. It's going to run through all the gearboxes and out to our prop at the back there. So air, we are going to need, what are they called? I know exactly what they look like, just don't know what they're called though. I think it's like an intake port or something, fluid port. Right, so we're going to stick just one of them onto the airport there. Not like an aeroplane airport, just a air hole port. Yeah, so this you can basically link with the pipes and whatever route this box wherever you want, as long as this port is at the end of the pipeline. That is perfectly fine. Right, next thing is going to be exhaust. So we're going to do a pipeline like that and make it like a dark gray. And if this thing will work with me, that would be great. So we're going to put that there and search for a exhaust. Grab that fluid exhaust, stick that up there. Good, that is going to be fuel. So we're going to need fuel tank. It's not called a fuel tank, it's called a fluid tank. There we go. So we'll do medium fuel tank like there. Grab one of these again, make it green. I always make my fuel green. Don't know why. Just a personal preference. Again, you can make it any color you like. Rotate down. There we go. I hope this lines up. I think it does. Here we go. Stick that there. Stick that there. And a 90-degree piece in there. Good. So that has got fuel. It's got air. It's got exhaust. Actually, that should have been fuel. I put that into the coolant spot. My bad. No big deal though. We'll flick that around like so. And put that onto there like so, and a piece in there. Right, that is fuel done. So for cooling, this is going to be coolant in. So we'll pop that out from there. So I'm going to make this white because it's coolant in. So that means it's already cooled down. So it's obviously cold. And this is going to be red because that is coolant out, coming out of the engine. So that is warm coolant. And we'll pop that there. Stick that over there. Another 90-degree over there. And connect that into there. So on the radiator, it doesn't matter which way you connect it, which way around. As long as one of them is cold and one of them is hot, it is perfectly fine. There we go. Like so. There we go. Right, so coolant comes out of the engine and into the radiator, gets cooled down, runs back and into the engine. So we've got fuel, we've got power, we've got exhaust, we've got coolant in, and we've got coolant out. Good. So next up, that is basically all the plumbing done. Obviously, you'll have to route the plumbing to your application and try and make it as neat as possible, because that makes the whole package a lot smaller, which is good. So next thing we're going to need is a push button. So we're going to put that down there. We're going to call that engine start. There we go. That little box is going to be engine clutch. This one is going to be generator clutch. There we go. So we'll just call it gen clutch. Okay, and what else are we going to need? We are going to need some more toggle buttons for the gearboxes. Trying to think how we're going to do this. Actually, what we are going to do, and this is my preferred method, is we're going to go lights, indicator light. Right. So indicator light, we're going to put 3 of these down, like so. And we're going to call that first gear, second gear, and reverse gear. So I'll show you why I prefer to use the indicator lights. You don't really need them, but they are super handy, and I'll show you why in a second. Right, so I think we've got the basics over here, everything that we need at the moment. And yeah, we need, okay, we're gonna need one more throttle lever, so we'll stick that up there just for now and call that engine throttle. Good. Okay, if we need anything else, I'll add it as we go. Next thing is going to be your logic, so electrics. Let me actually show you how to do, because I didn't show this in any of my other how-to videos, a breaker. So if you want a circuit breaker, I always use circuit breakers. I really like them. So I'm going to stick one. Oh, we can't do that there, so we'll do that and put a breaker on top of that. Good. So what we're going to do with the breaker is go over to logic and electric. So you'll see there's an electric A and electric B. So electric A goes to the battery and only the battery, nothing else. Electric B goes to everything else. So that basically means if you flick that switch, then everything gets power. If it's off, then it's off. Then nothing else works. So a handy tip is click on something that you have to connect to multiple points, drag it out, hold control, and now you can just click on everything that you need to connect it to, and it'll save you a lot of time. So actually I made a mistake there. That shouldn't be connected there, but everything else connected to that. The generator, we are going to drag and link that to the battery. So basically, if that has power, that'll just charge up the battery. So that'll be perfect. Right. We can put in a few dials here. Dial, we'll put one for... We'll put one over there and one over there, and yeah, I think that's all we'll really need at the moment. So we're going to call that gen power, and we'll call that actually, let's do these clutches. So we'll call this engine clutch, and we'll call that generator clutch, and then we'll add another one in this side like so, and call that battery. Good. Okay, so that is basically going to display our battery power. That one is going to display the generator clutch, how much engagement we've got on that, and that's going to show how much engagement we've got on our engine clutch. Good. So next up, back to logics, is we're going to have to link up all of the data for this. So battery charge, we're going to connect to battery, so that'll display the battery value. The clutch over here, we are going to connect to maybe hotkey 1. Trying to remember how I used to connect these to show the value. I think it was through a hotkey. No. Right. Okay, so I'm going to use up and down for the engine clutch. And I'm going to link that to display the engine clutch value. Sorry, I hesitated for a second there. I haven't built anything in Stormworks for quite a while. And then I want to grab that one, left and right arrows, and I'm going to connect that to the generator clutch, and I'll display that to the generator clutch display dial. Good. Okay, so next up is going to be hotkeys. So hotkey 1 is going to be gear number 1. Hotkey 2 is going to be gearbox number 2. And hotkey 3 is going to be gearbox number 3. So we also want that value to display over here. So we're going to grab hotkey 1 and display first gear, display second gear, and display third gear. Right. Select tool. So first gear, we are going to do 1, 1, and then I find good ratios to use is 1, 1, 1, 2, and then second gear is going to be 1, 1, 1, 3, and then reverse gear is going to be 1, 1, and 1 minus 1. So that is 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, and 1, 1, 1 minus 1. Good. So first gear, second gear, reverse gear. Right, next up on logics is going to be engine. I think we've put in an engine start button. Did we? No. Okay. Pretty sure we did though. Is that engine start button? There we go. Okay, I just couldn't see it hiding there. So engine start button, we're going to connect to the engine. And this is going to be generator clutch. So we want to connect the generator clutch to... Actually, we don't need those because we wired them to the seat. Sorry about that. So I'll erase them. You can wire them to the switches. So instead of wiring them to the seat, so basically clutch to seat and then seat to dial, you can actually do them externally and do clutch to throttle and throttle to dial. So we're not going to use those ones. We are going to use the engine throttle though. So logics and grab throttle and put that to engine. Obviously you can wire that to your seat as well and make it sort of like a sticky key. So if you want to do that, you basically disconnect that, grab the throttle input, and you can do it to like WS if you want to. So let's do that. We'll put it to WS. One thing that I like to do, click select, click on the seat and go to WS and change that to sticky. So that basically means you can sort of throttle up and leave the key and it'll just stay at that throttle level. If you don't want that, just click leave it on reset. So basically then you'll throttle up with WS, and then if you let it go, it'll throttle back down. So we're going to leave that for the moment. We're going to change it back to the actual throttle. There we go. I want to use the throttle lever just to show you how it works, but that is how you can do it. Just wire it up to the seat if you want to. Good. So small generator output, you can put a dial to show what the generator itself is outputting. We're not going to use any of that. And then obviously rotations per second. So that's basically like a RPM, but they call it RPS. It's just rotations per second instead of rotations per minute. That you can link up to a dial if you want to, and then obviously engine temperature as well. Good. So I think that is basically all of it connected. We'll give this a go and see if it actually works. Obviously it's not pretty, but this is sort of like a test bench. Right, so we're gonna hop into the seat and I'm gonna try and press a button and nothing works. Perfect. So turn the circuit breaker on, give a little bit of throttle and hold in that, and it works. Good, so you can hear that throttling up, which is perfect, but nothing is turning over here, so we are doing well. I am gonna check the battery level is on 1. There's nothing draining the battery at the moment. So, but if we look over here, generator clutch, if I press that, then it'll actually go up. So that goes back down again because I didn't put it on sticky. So let me show you how to do that. I actually forgot about that one. So go over here and look for left and right and change that to sticky. And up and down, change that to sticky, because your gearboxes or your clutches, you really want it to be on sticky. Right, so spawn, and let's hop in again, start this thing up. There we go. Bit of power, nope. Bit of power. Start that up. And now generator clutch, it'll just stay there. So we'll put it on like 30 just to keep the battery charged. Not that it's really draining at all. So now we can use the up and down arrows and we'll engage the clutch for the actual engine. So you can hear something happening in the background there. So we'll go full clutch and now our prop should be turning. Nice. Working perfectly. Good. So engine throttle, that is fine. So now we're going to engage first gear and listen if we can hear a difference. There we go. You can clearly hear the change of tone there. So that is first gear activated. And it's really handy to have these lights, because if you want to use second gear, you can disengage first gear and engage second gear, which is an even higher ratio. And sometimes you get confused what you've actually engaged and disengaged and all of that sort of thing. So it's really handy to have. The other thing as well, you can go first gear and activate second gear and you'll hear it goes really quiet. That means both gearboxes are working together, giving you an even higher ratio, which is fantastic. But if we activate reverse gear, it should kill the engine. Yeah, you can hear that dropping. Yeah, so that killed the engine, which is perfect, which means reverse gear actually works. So now with everything disengaged again, it is running. And let's go throttle that down, try and activate reverse gear. Yeah. See, that killed the engine. Deactivate that, start it back up. So basically what you want to do, if you have your clutch engaged, you are obviously moving in a forward direction. So what you want to do is bring back your clutch completely, activate reverse gear, and then slowly feed that in again. There we go. And now you can hear it going, and that will be going in the opposite direction in reverse gear. So that is basically it. So we've got our generator on its own clutch. So basically the generator does take power away from the engine. That's why I like to run it on a clutch. So you can just sort of feed in a little bit of power just to keep your batteries charged. And it's not, if you can put the generator straight onto that link there, but then it'll be taking 100% power the whole time. So you'll lose about probably between like 30 and 50% of your actual engine power going to there. Where if you only have that on, let's say 10% engagement, then 90% of the power will go to your props and your gearbox and all of that. So yeah, I definitely prefer to do that to sort of have more power for the actual propulsion of the boat or the helicopter or whatever you are building. So yeah, that is basically it, guys. I think I've covered everything. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I know I move quite fast with this, but I don't want episodes to be really, really long, and I just kind of want to get to the point as quickly as possible. So throttle is turned off there, and we can turn the breaker off. That'll kill all of the electronics, and that should shut down now. But yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. That whole layout, I tried to do as simple as possible and do it as quickly as possible. I think I did pretty well in 25 minutes. So yeah, I hope that sort of shows you how to work with gearboxes and everything. And the indicator lights are super, super, super handy. You'll know if you're doing actual career mode and things, how handy that can be if you actually install them. And obviously with the throttles and everything, you can, I wired the clutches up to the seat, but you can do it with the 2 throttle levers if you really want to. Same with the engine throttle, you can wire that to W and S or A and D or whatever you want. But yeah, and obviously then you can add your different dials and backlighting off the battery and all of that sort of thing. So with extra switches to turn lights on and off and do all kinds of nice things and monitor engine temperatures and engine RPMs and all that sort of thing. But this is just a very, very simple layout of how the whole thing is supposed to work. So I hope that helps you in some way. If it did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.